what's up everyone, DUCAIN23, and today I'm going to be going over my most requested tutorial, and that is the ability to set up waves. Now I know in my previous one I just basically told everyone how to be able to just place AI out on your maps, but everyone in the comments were saying, hey, how do I actually set up waves? How do I make them respawn? How do I actually do something like Firefight? Now remember, this is going to be a beginner's tutorial. This isn't something super advanced, but this will get you the foundation, the basics, to be able to set something up on your map and to actually run it and have somewhat of a Firefight type of mode. Now before we do that, I want to say that my kids right now are having a fundraiser at their school, and it runs until November 8th. So if you are after November 8th, you're not going to be able to order anything. And if anyone wants to support that, they can go onto the link in the description and click on that and look through all the items on there. Make sure you do actually set it as shipping to your house. Don't say ship to school, because that makes it a lot more complicated, and make sure you say ship it to your house. And also, this is only for US residents. You have to be living within the United States to be able to purchase any of these things. If you do want to support my kids and being able to with this fundraiser for school, just go ahead and follow that link. Click on there. There's of course some prizes that they want to be able to reach, and that's requires a certain amount of items sold. So if y'all do see something you like and you do want to buy it, now I will say all the, I think it's the cookies and the chocolate and stuff, you can only ship that to the school, so y'all may not be able to order those type of things. But if there's other items on there that you want to order, make sure you do ship it to your house, and if you want to support that way. Okay, so I have set up a map just to be able to show this off here, and I will go through everything very detailed, at least as much as what I can, and show everyone exactly what to do. And again, like I said before, this is a beginner tutorial. This won't go into anything super advanced. It's going to be pretty simplistic. But let's go ahead and jump in now and check this out. Now, if you notice, I put over here, these are different AI spawners on here. So if you do want to be able to get to the AI spawners, all you have to do is go to here and go to gameplay, go to AI, and you choose a spawner. Don't choose the move zone on there. Just say drop pod spawner, phantom spawner, and a normal AI spawner. Now, if you are going to do the phantom spawner, you have to have a large area for the phantom to be able to come in for it to actually work. So just keep that in mind. But you can do drop spot or just the typical AI spawner there. Now, I just went ahead and chose all the typical AI spawners, and I called them different names so that way I can easily be able to notice them in the node graph. I called this round 1-3, so that's basically the third spawner for round 1, and then this round 1-1, and we have here round 1-2. And then over across here, I set some across these little burned trees, and this is the second round of spawners right here. And then over here, back near where I originally spawned, this is the third round of spawners right here. Now, you can put as many as you want out. Now, remember, there is a limit about how many AI is on the map at one time that are alive. Of course, once they die, other ones can spawn in. I believe it is 32 AI enemies that are alive on there, so that's just something to remember. But yeah, so you can have a lot more than this if you want to have more spawners. And now remember, each spawner itself also is you don't have to just have one single enemy spawn. You can go ahead and go into its settings right here, go to the object properties, and then scroll down. Keep going, and right here is the grunt conscript, and that's unit 1. Right now I just have one grunt spawning on each spawner just because there's no reason to have all of them spawn. But you can go up to 8 enemies or friendlies. It depends on what you go ahead and put on there, but you can have up to 8 enemies here spawn, 8 AIs spawn on here. And this is also where you change the weapon. You can have the default weapon, or you can change their weapon that they spawn with if you want to. Now, one thing you need to remember about this, since you are doing waves, you need to make sure you say triggered by script on. And you have to do these for each spawner, trigger by script on. If you do not do that, then they will just spawn automatically at the start. And they won't be triggered by one of the scripts. So make sure you do that. And if you want them to face the direction that the spawner is facing, you can go ahead and say face forwards and turn that on if you want to. If you want to have a spawn delay, anything like that, you can do that. Also, if you want to set them to be deaf, where they can't hear the player, you can do that. Set them where blind, where they can't see the player, so you can walk right up to them. You can turn that on. And the magic sight basically means AI units will be able to see through walls and terrain, so they will pretty much always come after you even if you're behind a wall. So these are just different squad behaviors, different behaviors of this spawner right here. So then once you go ahead and you put all that type of stuff out there, you decide on what stuff you want. Make sure again you use the trigger by script right here, turn that on. Make sure you always do that, and you got to do that for each spawner that you're having. And once you do that, you go ahead and go into the node area. So on the keyboard and mouse on PC, that is N, and on controller, I normally use keyboard on here. So on controller, that is holding down Y and going up to the node graph. A lot of people were also asking, how do you get to the build menu so you could build your nav mesh? That right here is right here. You hold down Y on, there, and then you go over to build menu, and right here is nav mesh like that. So basically, if you want to actually be able to play on your map and the AI spawning on there, make sure you build the nav mesh. Now, there are other tutorials for nav mesh things for doing a lot more, like complicated and more intense nav mesh work, especially once you get on your actual map. You're going to need a lot more complicated nav mesh. It's not just as easy as just building your nav mesh and that stuff, but you can go ahead and look up those tutorials online. I may do one eventually of those, but I know people have done those in the past, so I may not go ahead and do that one. Now, building a nav mesh does take a little while, as you can tell. It does take a little while, especially the more surfaces you have and everything like that. It will take a little bit longer, but you just sit here, just wait for it to build. You're only going to have to build it once, and I suggest building it once you're done building your map. Once you're done building the actual full-on structures and everything and all the aesthetics and all that type of stuff on your map, then go in and build the nav mesh, just so you can have that on there. And you don't have to keep doing build nav mesh every single time you want to be able to test. Now, if you do want to test with AI, you're going to have to build a nav mesh and do all that type of stuff. So remember that on there. And so you just wait till the navigation data is finished downloading there, and it is now complete. It's finished downloading. That means the nav mesh is set up here on this map. And then you can go ahead and hold down Y or hit N on your keyboard, and you can go ahead and go into the node graph right here. So if you want to be able to see this at just any time, I am going to kind of save this out, prefab this, and save this so people can download this if they just want something default that they could throw in. But the thing that I will be deleting on there is this object reference, because this object reference will not work for y'all. This is specifically for my map, so it will not work for y'all. So let's go ahead and let's delete these. So just like if y'all are pulling this out and y'all want to do it yourselves on here. So what you're gonna have to do with the object reference here, it's what it is actually referencing all your spawners right here. So you want to go ahead and select each spawner that you're going to be having. Oh my gosh, what's going on? It's so slow right now. Here you go. Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Okay, we have that spawner there. Let's go ahead and grab these spawners over here. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. 5 and then 6. You're going to go ahead and then grab your other spawners. You have to make sure you have all your spawners. Now, you don't have to do this all at one time like what I'm doing. You could technically grab these 3 over here and then go into the, the node graph over here, and then you could spawn them in, those 3, and then go back and grab another 3 and then spawn them, and you could do that. I'm just grabbing all of them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click on here and say add object references. Now, one thing, if you are on controller, to be able to add an object reference on controller, you hold down Y on just an empty space, and you'll see here you can go ahead and you hit A to add object reference, or if you want to add a totally separate node, you go ahead and click A on add nodes, and it brings up with the node browser here. Normally how you bring up the node browser on controller is with X, so that's something to remember. And if you're wanting to bring up the node browser on mouse and keyboard, you hit R, and that will bring up the node browser on mouse and keyboard. But we spawned all these in, and they spawn in all wacky and stuff, so that's something to remember here. So basically you're just gonna have to move them around. Like, you just grab one, move it around, just like how you would normally grab objects over, you know, out in the normal forge and stuff like that. So this is round 3. This is why I said round 3, so I know which ones are which rounds that I want. That's why I named them that way. And this is round 2, and then this is the third one, then the round 2 and round 2, and there we go. And all you have to do is connect these to an object list. If you don't know where an object list is, basically this will funnel all these into one object list, so you can connect it here to the AI spawner list in the wave. The object list, whenever you go over to it for add a node here, let me real quick remove that object so that way it's not showing up whenever I do this. Whenever you add a node on here, you want to go ahead and have an object list. Now let's go ahead and variable basic. I believe it's in here. Yes, it is right there. You just scroll down, go down to variables basic, click on object list right there, and that will spawn one of these right here. So there you go. You spawn one of these, and here I will go ahead and delete that. You spawn one of those, and then you just connect them. That's all you have to do. Connect them in there. Now you can of course have different connections. I can have this one connected also to this one if I wanted to, and then I can have this one also connected over here to, you know, this spot right here. You can't connect these into the same location, you know. So if I want this spawn point to also on wave 2 to also spawn an enemy, the same thing, you connect it over into this area right here. Now there is a way that you could get more than just 4. Basically what you would have to do is add another node. You want to add another object list. So let's say I wanted the third one and the first one to be, you know, spawning in on here, and then this one right here will spawn there. But then I also want, you know, even more. So pretty much I'm gonna have 5 different spawners gonna be coming in on wave 2. But then you aren't able to connect this one to a list right there. So what you're gonna have to do if you want to do that, let's go ahead and move this over. You're gonna have to add another node in here, and then you're gonna be going to, let's see if I can remember where this is on here. Combine object list right here. So it is in the object section, combine object list right here. So you pretty much, you know, pop that out right there. And instead of this connecting to here, what you want to do, let's go ahead and clear that connector. What you want to do is connect that there, and then connect this here. And then you go ahead and move that one over into the wave node right here. So, you know, you don't have to worry. We'll get to the wave node here in a second, but this is how you combine. This is how you have more than just 4 spawners coming in for one, you know, wave. You can, you know, you could do this multiple times and stuff. So you can basically have, you know, a lot of object lists here, and you can have like 8 different, you know, spawners coming in. And of course each spawner can spawn 8, but sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you want hunters to be able to spawn over on this part of the map for round number 2, and then, you know, grunts spawning on this part of the map for round number 2. So you have to have different spawners for those type of things. But this is what you do. You combine and you connect it into there. So let's go ahead now and delete this out, because we're not going to do that on there. So let's go ahead and clear these connections here, and we're just going to do a default, a simple, but I just wanted to explain that, Joe. So just in case y'all wanted to have more, you know, spawners, then rather than just these 4 that can connect onto here. So I just wanted to explain that there. Let's go ahead and connect this. Whoops, I didn't mean to connect that there. Let's go ahead and just clear these. We got a little wires crisscross there. I like having it neat. I like trying to make this as neat as possible. So that's one reason why I'm going ahead and doing this. So Once you go ahead and you have your object reference, you place them into the object list right here. Then you're going to be coming into the wave, node there. So you're basically just going to add another node, and you're going to be scrolling up right here to AI waves right there. And right here you have the wave node right there. And so that's what you spawn in. Now, one thing you need to remember, you need to set the wave type here. There's an intermission or default. Always just, like if you just want a normal thing, just go to default. That's the best way of doing it. Make sure you have the duration set to 0 seconds, unless you want it, I don't know, you want to put a duration on it, but I just always have it to 0 seconds there. These type of things, if you don't put those in there, if you forget to do the wave type to default, it will not work. So that's something to remember. So that right there is going into the wave. Now up here is wave options. So if you do want to have wave options, you're just going to be coming right here to wave options. So now that we went ahead and spawned in the wave options thing, make sure you also set everything like the incoming messages. This will have the incoming message whenever a wave is spawning in. You can set that to false or true if you want on there. So if you don't want one, set it to false. If you do want one, set it to true. The outgoing message, so pretty much whenever it's ending and stuff, like if you're talking as you're killing enemies and stuff like that, you can set it to true or false there. And then extermination percentage. So if you want basically if you want first the entire wave to be killed before the next wave spawns, make sure you set this one to 100. Let me go ahead. There we go. Set it to 100. If you want it 50% of the enemies to be killed and then the next wave to spawn, put it to 50. So, and then that's what that is. And of course the delay spawn until budget on here, we are just going to be, I don't even remember what this is, but just set it to true. Like I said, I got major help from this from Dark Maiming. So this is just one of those things where thank you so much. I don't necessarily fully, I kind of get this, but there are some things that I still, I'm just going to do what he told me to do, on there. But yeah, so delay spawn until budget. So basically until the budget, it delays the spawn until there. And then, yeah, the percentage, once it hits 100% of the enemies exterminated, the next wave will spawn on here, which that's what this is over here. So let's go ahead and delete that. And you connect this into the wave options into the wave. So you connect these for each of these spots. Now that's only if you want the incoming message on every single wave. Like let's say on we could say the first wave, I'm like, I don't really want an incoming message on the very first wave. So let's go ahead and lower this down there. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to add a node to that, go wave options here. And so just on here, just go false. And you can go ahead and keep the outgoing message on here, hit true, and then hit, whoops, wrong way. Come on, 100. Oh my gosh, we can get this eventually. There we go, 100, and then connect it to the wave options right here. So yeah, by doing the wave options, that's the incoming message. Now it won't say that there's an incoming wave, like a group of enemies for this first wave. Now you can do that for any wave you want. So that's just whatever you feel like doing. So yeah, make sure again, all these type stuff, wave default, you set to default on here. So next one you want to be able to put in there is add wave to wave manager. So that's going to just be right here in the AI waves. Everything is pretty much, for all of this in the AI waves, just add wave to wave manager right here. You will connect this wave node into the wave manager where it says wave, and then this empty will disappear whenever you do that. Like if you watch, I clear the connection here, it says empty, and then I just simply connect it right there. Make sure you change this wave manager to default or whatever you want, but I'm just saying for the simplicity of it, just you can change it to default. And I also right here on gameplay start. The reason why I put on gameplay start right here is right whenever the gameplay starts on your match, it will spawn in the first set of waves. If you do not put that, nothing will happen whenever you spawn in. Like whenever you start the game, nothing will happen. Now, there's other things that you can do here, but I'm just saying this is more simplistic. And with everything in this, there's a lot more you can add on to this. There's a lot more crazy stuff that you can do, but I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. And so the next deal, you do the exact same thing with all of this, as what you did up here on this first one. Except you connect this add wave manager here at the very end, and you connect it to this one. So basically, once this wave ends right here, then it'll go on over here into this wave manager, into this wave, and then the same thing. And you can do this for however many waves as you want to be able to have. And so you could just connect it to there. Let's go ahead and connect these. So these will be properly set up. So whenever we test it, it'll be good to go. There we go. I'm just making sure all this, because I added this in here, so making sure that's good. Now what this is right here, this is ending the game. So once you complete all your waves, you can go ahead and do this. This is one of those things I don't understand as much, but thank you, Dark Maiming. Dark Maiming helped me out a lot with all this type of stuff. If you want to be able to follow him, his Twitter is down below, and so pretty much just on wave end right here. So make sure you put the wave manager set to default. If you do not put the wave manager set to default, it will not work. So you make sure always put it set to default. And then the wait for end seconds, if you want to be able to add that on there, make sure you scroll down and you go variable basics, and that is the completely wrong area right there. I got it wrong. Logic, there it is. Wait for end seconds in logic right there. That's what that is. And make sure you enter the amount of seconds that you want to do. You go ahead and hit that and enter in the amount of seconds. I just went ahead and did 4 seconds right there. And then you will have a branch showing up right here, and the end round winning team. And this one also, the team, you go ahead and choose which team it is whenever you have the end round. Why is this messing up here? There we go. Okay. So you can choose which team it ends around on. Of course, I put team 1, and then in game, make sure you set that to true. Some of this stuff, it was a little complicated to be able to find. On here, I was like, where's the compare and where's the Boolean logic and all that type of stuff. But this is, I'll try to, find them here. Let's see here. There's branch here. I got to remember, where's branch? There it is. Branch is right there in logic. Perfect. Easy peasy. That's the same place where the wait for end seconds is. It's in the logic. Some of the, there's a lot of stuff you could go through. I really wish we had a search functionality so you could search for these type of things, because there is a lot of stuff to scroll through. But in logic, that's where you also get the wait for a certain amount of seconds, and also branch right there. And if you notice the Boolean not, that's also right here. So there you go. There's the Boolean not right there in logic, and Boolean logic is in logic. Go figure. So if you need to find, the wait for seconds, the, branch, the Boolean not, the Boolean logic, all that is in this logic section right here. Very easy to be able to get to right there. And then we need some other stuff on here. So we get wave manager status. That will be over into the typical AI waves right here, the get wave manager status right there. And again, like normal, make sure you have the wave manager, set that to default right there. There we go. And you're going to be connecting that, basically saying it's getting the wave manager status when it, like this right here, like on the end of a wave, get the wave manager status, and it has an active wave, and it says not. Basically, it's saying it doesn't have an active wave, and then it will go into the branch here, and it's on the end wave, wait for 4 seconds, and if it doesn't have an active wave, it'll go ahead and end the round. So as long as you do everything properly over here, and once all your waves go through, and then you enter in this type of stuff over here, then you will go ahead and it will end the game whenever it's done. Now, there's, again, a lot more complicated things to be able to do, so that's something to remember. Did I do the compare one? Did I get that one on here? I don't know if I got the compare right there, but the compare is in the logic compare right here. So there's logic, and that has the Boolean not and the Boolean logic and the wait for end seconds and the branch. And logic compare does have just a default compare. Now, one thing you got to remember to be able to do on here is you have to hit this as 0 right there. So, you know, you basically the operand here B is set it to 0. I don't know necessarily what that does if you set that in different, you know, numbers and stuff, but he told me to set it to 0, so that's what I am going to do, and this completely works right here. And like I said before, I will be setting this up, except for the object references. Y'all would have to set that up yourself, you know, for your own spawn points for AI. But I will be saving this out right here into a prefab, and I will link that in the description down below. So if y'all want to be able to prefab, you know, something of this right here, you can prefab it, and I mean, you can download the prefab and you can go ahead and throw it into your map, so you can have something to kind of just start off with. Now, if you're having more, like, remember, you can also copy some things, like you can scroll and copy stuff and just hit duplicate if you want to duplicate those items, and then you can go ahead and grab some extra object references and, you know, of spawners and throw them in here. So then you have more stuff, and then all you do is have to pretty much like kind of connect that to there, and there you go. It's all basically set up how it is. And I guess if you want it you know, announced like and everything, you just connect that to right there, just like that. So I don't want that because I don't have anything connected to it, so let's go ahead and delete that. But look, everything is set up here. I'm sure y'all will be pausing this video and checking everything out. I know this is a little bit long of a video, but I tried to talk through everything as best as I can to explain everything, where to find all these nodes and everything in the menus. It is pretty complicated, but let's go ahead and back out and let's jump in and load in. Now, this is another thing I noticed a lot of people are having issues with. To load in, you have to hold down the button to spawn, you know, whenever you spawn your Spartan. If you just press the button, this is just a like test mode. This is nothing will spawn in, no scripts will work, nothing like that. You can't drive vehicles in this. This is literally for just like testing jumps, you know, on your map, testing the layout to see if it looks good and stuff. That is literally what this test is for. You can't drive vehicles, you know, no scripts are going to be spawning in, nothing like that on there. So what you're going to have to do is you have to, and also you could spawn, of course, in any location if you just tap it. Now, what you're going to have to do to be able to have your scripts actually run is all you do is just hold down that button instead of just tapping it. You hold it down, and it's actually, this is now in an actual play mode, and this is just like a custom game. You know, like you're in a, you know, your scripts run, you can drive vehicles, you spawn on the spawn points and everything like that. So if you notice, I had some AI spawners right here and then ones over there, and those are not showing up right now. No AI is showing up. These guys are just waiting around. They'll see me here in a second, you know. And let's go ahead and just take these guys out. And then the next one spawns over here. Right here, like this. Fantastic. One enemy remaining. And see how he's announcing how many enemies remaining. You can, of course, set that to where you don't want that. And then let's go ahead and get him in position so we can see the other spawn over there. Oh my gosh, don't stick me. See, and then the other one spawned over here, and this is the final one. So let's just go over here and last enemy. And there we go, I killed them. And of course, nothing right there. After 4 seconds, the no grass script successfully ended the game. But of course, since I'm in Forge, it won't actually end the game, but it does tell me, the debug does tell me that it does end the game, so that script does run properly. And that was after these 4 seconds right here. So there we go. That is everything there. I hope y'all understood all that. Again, like I said, I will be prefabbing this, so y'all can just go ahead and grab it. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. And if you want to be able to see more tutorials of stuff, I do have some other, tutorials, especially with AI. But of course, I have to learn all these type of stuff as well, as especially from smarter people like Dark Maiming. I really appreciate him helping me out here. He is incredible. There's some really incredible scripters out there that really work in this node graph and do great work. But yeah, so I got to learn all that type of stuff just like y'all, and once I learn it, we'll go ahead and try to make a tutorial over it. But if there is a tutorial that you want to be able to see me cover, just go ahead and leave a comment down below. Subscribe for more Halo Infinite Forge maps and tutorials, just everything Halo Infinite Forge. And I think that's it. And remember the link to my kids fundraiser if you do want to hop in there and buy something and support them. That is in the description also down below. And I will see y'all next time. And remember, let's forge a new Halo.